Welcome to the Weekly Dose by Augusta Global Insights. This is an AI-generated summary of one of our written reports where we analyze the most important developments in business, markets, and the global economy. If you'd like to read the full article, you can find the link in the description below.
All right, let's dive into this week's analysis. We're going to unpack two massive disruptions that are really shaking things up. First, we'll see how AI is going head-to-head with some of the biggest names in software. Then we'll shift gears and look at how public information is becoming maybe the most valuable currency on Wall Street. And of course, we'll wrap up with a few key global headlines and what it all means for the future.
So, first up, let's talk about the perfect storm that AI is creating. And this isn't just about the software industry, it's about anyone who invests in it.
You see, there's this new kind of advanced AI that's just burst onto the scene, and it's making investors completely rethink the value of some of the biggest, most established software companies out there. We're not talking about a small change here. This is a shockwave that has put the entire sector on high alert. So, what's actually powering this whole shakeup? Well, it all boils down to something called AI agents. And this, right here, is where the battle lines are really being drawn between the new kids on the block and the old guard of software. Companies like Anthropic are rolling out tools that are so much more than just simple assistants. I mean, these are basically autonomous workers. An AI agent is designed to take a really complex goal, like analyzing a year's worth of sales data or plowing through legal contracts, and just do the whole thing on its own. It's pretty much like having a digital robot worker on your team.
Now, this is really crucial to understand. These are not just glorified helpers that give you a few suggestions. No, they're fundamentally different. Think of an AI helper, like a co-pilot, as something that gives you a hand. But an AI agent, that's like a full-on coworker that you can just hand the entire job to and say, go get it done.
And this new power, well, it directly threatens the core business model of all those companies that charge you per user per month. It asks a really simple but frankly a very dangerous question for them. If one single AI agent could do the work of 10 people, why on earth would a company keep paying for 10 separate software licenses?
And boy, did the market react. It was fast and it was brutal, even for the biggest players in the game. Just take a look at these one-year stock numbers. We're seeing heavyweights like ServiceNow, Salesforce, and Accenture down big time as investors start to price in this existential threat.
But here's the wild part, the real irony. Even with the stock market apocalypse going on, these companies, they're still reporting growth. Their revenues are up, their earnings are up. The fear isn't about what's happening today. It's all about whether they'll even be around tomorrow.
Which brings us to the main point. These companies are facing a massive choice. It's adapt or become obsolete. This is a total, classic Blockbuster versus Netflix moment. The market is sending a crystal clear message. You either integrate this new AI technology or you are going to be replaced by it.
Okay, so let's switch gears and jump into our second big disruption. This one shows how, in today's market, having the right information can be even more powerful than having money. We're going to dig into how data that's just out there, in the public, is creating a totally new kind of edge for investors.
Let's start with PayPal. I mean, wow. Over the last 5 years, its stock has gone through an absolutely stunning collapse, down almost 84%. For a company that was once a darling of the market, that's just a brutal, brutal fall from grace.
Now, the official story, the one you'll hear on the news, is that they kept missing their earnings targets, and honestly, the company had just been overvalued for years. They just weren't hitting the numbers, and that sky-high valuation couldn't hold up.
But what if there's more to it? What if that earnings report was just the final scene in a drama that actually started way, way earlier, hidden in plain sight?
And it turns out there was a clue. A public disclosure revealed that politician Nancy Pelosi had sold about $500,000 worth of her PayPal stock well before that terrible earnings report came out and sent the stock crashing.
And look, this wasn't just a one-off thing. Her family's trading history has been under a microscope for years. For instance, there was a case where her husband sold a huge chunk of Visa stock right before the Department of Justice hit the company with an antitrust lawsuit. It's moves like that that have raised a lot of eyebrows.
So all of this scrutiny has led to this whole new wave of tools that basically let anyone become a financial detective. You have platforms like Quiver Quantitative and Unusual Whales that pull together all these public filings so regular investors can see what politicians and insiders are doing with their money and, draw their own conclusions.
Beyond those two big stories, there were a couple of other major headlines this week that also point to some pretty big shifts in global trade and technology.
First, on the trade front, India has signed on for a massive $500 billion deal to buy U.S. goods, which is a huge deal for economic alignment. And then, tying everything back to our first story, the AI agent revolution just keeps rolling. Apple is now building tech from both Anthropic and OpenAI right into its own software development tools.
Okay, but we've talked about AI agents taking over software, and we've talked about information becoming king. What are the big lessons here? What does all this actually mean for the road ahead?
When you really boil it down, it comes down to two huge truths for navigating the future. First, AI is not a choice anymore. It's a force that is demanding adaptation, especially if you're in the software business. And second, information is being democratized. Those public filings aren't just for Wall Street experts anymore. They're becoming a powerful tool for everyone.
And all of this leaves us with one final crucial question hanging in the air. In a world where AI agents are becoming our coworkers and we all have access to this incredible amount of information, who's actually going to hold the power? The people who build the technology, or the people who know how to use the information that it uncovers?
This was a short AI-generated summary of a written report by Augusta Global Insights. If you want to read the complete analysis, the full article is available in the description below. Thank you for watching The Weekly Dose. New report every week.